It's episode 19, and in this episode, we're going to talk about multimodal AI. So AI used to be that you had to kind of choose between text or images or other stuff. And AI in recent years has become multimodal, which means now we have models that can understand text and images and other stuff. So how does it go about doing this? Well, we can get images and a bunch of captions. So we have images of, for example, a chihuahua, and then we have a caption that says chihuahua, and then we have an image of a blueberry muffin and a caption that has blueberry muffin in the caption. And so now what we can do is we can take the caption, chihuahua, and we can take the image, and we can pass these into a neural network encoder that is going to try to transform that image into a series of numbers. It's going to try to transform that text into a series of numbers, a vector of numbers. And what we're going to do is we're going to pass these through and compare these numbers to one another. And the goal is for these numbers to be the exact same, right? Because the caption and the image should be pretty related. So we want these to be the same. So our goal is for them to be the same. And so we're going to update the model weights in both our image encoder and our text encoder. So update our model parameters based on this goal of them to be the same. So similar to how we did training already in neural networks, and go back to our previous episode on training if you need a review. Just like we've been doing training of neural networks, but now we've just paired two networks together where the outputs of both of them are compared, and that's what's used to actually give feedback to the model to update those model parameters. Here's another example of that blueberry muffin, caption containing blueberry muffin. We want those numbers to be the same. We're going to compare them and then give feedback to the model to update those model parameters. So after we go through the training process, these numbers will be exactly the same. This provides us with a multimodal embedding space, which is really, really powerful, especially when you have certain concepts that you don't necessarily have images for, and vice versa. So for example, let's just imagine that we didn't have any pictures of unicorns in our training data. There's no pictures of unicorns. The model has never seen unicorn. However, it's been trained on a bunch of text and a bunch of images, and so it has an understanding of unicorn from a text-based perspective. So if it understands the text of unicorn, then it could potentially be able to create an image of a unicorn, because it understands that a unicorn is pretty close to a horse and a unicorn is pretty close to a rhinoceros. So it might combine them and create an image of a unicorn. A challenge with this, though, is that the model might get a little bit confused here, and instead of the horn on the rhinoceros, it might think, oh, well, a unicorn has a horn and doesn't think about a rhinoceros horn. Instead, it thinks of a French horn. And then you end up with an image like this. And so that is also a possibility here. But the multimodal aspect makes these extremely powerful and makes a lot of the current generative technologies possible, because now we have this joint embedding space between images and between text. And now we don't just have embedding multimodal models for images and text, but we have it for other things too, like audio. And now that you can embed words and images as numbers, you can do all sorts of things with them. You can auto-generate captions, like this image, you might say close-up of a chihuahua face, and that's an auto-generated caption by your model. Or you might put in a prompt, a child in a red raincoat splashing in a puddle next to a yellow Labrador in front of a blue house, and get this image as an output. Or you might be able to do really weird things like put a French horn on a horse's head. Thank you for joining me for this episode in the AI for People Who Hate Math series. This is an unscripted series that is inspired by my conversations with people who feel like they can't conceptually understand AI because it's just too much math. And it usually is. Most AI classes, tutorials, and videos are full of math. The AI classes that I teach as a professor have math on nearly every slide. I wanted to challenge this assumption that AI could only be conceptualized by people with strong math backgrounds. Especially as AI permeates our daily lives, I think it's important that everyone understands the technology, at least conceptually. Because without it, we're putting a lot of trust into systems we don't understand. Feel free to let me know in the comments if there are topics that you want to see covered. The initial launch is 20 episodes, and I am excited to see what you think.